Hello, my name is Sara Alahbabi. I'm an artist and also a graduate of the MFA program at NYU Abu Dhabi. And we are exhibiting our thesis project here at 421. Please come visit us. Behind me, you'll see my light installations that represent my memory of walking in the city of Abu Dhabi. Each installation is special to me because they hold certain memories that encompass moments I've had with shopkeepers, restaurant owners, tailors, and them sharing with me intimate stories, but also stories that talk about the history of Abu Dhabi and its landscape. My thesis project isn't only about exploring the modern heritage of the city of Abu Dhabi, but also the nuances that it has. I began with photographing a lot of the different blocks and zones in the city of Abu Dhabi, and then I realized as I've been recording and documenting that, sometimes as an artist you create a distance between yourself and the communities you are trying to integrate through. I'm very fascinated by light in general, so walking in the city at night and seeing all the LED lights that decorate and adorn shops and restaurants, I thought that was the best way to translate my concepts. And as you can see behind me, they're light installations, but I bought them from Timeline Electricals, which is the title of my exhibition. And it's kind of like an ode to the shopkeeper, Arman Pasha, Muhammad Arman Pasha. He's helped me so much with, learning about different LED forms, how the process of soldering light to make sure that, I can execute the designs. I also want to thank Artemio and Roshan from Phoenix Home Services. They've helped me solder and install these beautiful, I think, light installation. A lot of my research was also acquiring Google Earth images of the different blocks that I walked in, and then I would use my memory, but also with the help of the many photographs that I took of shops and the names of the shops, I was able to directly link my steps and where I went, which alleyways I entered into, and which parking lots that I parked my car in, although I did get lost many times. I would love that when visitors come to visit my space that they go into the room here and really try to envision that they're in the city walking at night and seeing all these LED lights overwhelming them or making them feel some type of emotion, but mainly to feel like they're walking in the city at night or at sunset, because that's how I experienced it, walking in the city.
Hi, I'm Ciel Arbour-Boehme, and I'm graduating from the York University Abu Dhabi Masters in Fine Arts, and this is my thesis show. As a performance artist, I wanted to investigate the ways that the viewer, the attendee of the gallery space, could become a performer themselves without knowing it, potentially. And not just in the gallery space, but beyond the white cube or the formal gallery space, how performance occurs in the everyday. And by using large-scale architectural interventions into pathways of the viewer, if the viewer becomes the participant, then my next question was what are the steps of the viewer becoming more than just a viewer and becoming the performer? And I kind of answered that by interventions into a typical pathway that one might take around work, and by rewarding what might be considered miscreants in other shows, but forcing the viewer to engage with the work, going behind the work, maybe touching the work, and by nudging toward those behaviors, I'm allowing the removed kind of participant to become the performer, to be embedded in the work and to activate the work. I am very interested in the tension between abstraction and personal history or autobiography, and that tension became very clear to me when I started studying at NYU Abu Dhabi. Coming from North America, the value of visual art is predominantly placed on abstraction as like in a hierarchy over personal history. And through unlearning that here, I was excited to express what I've learned, and I don't think it's a final moment of knowledge, but I'm expressing this schism that I feel between those two things on these surfaces of the works that I've made. I'm releasing personal histories through the build objects and on the surfaces, and through the text on the surfaces, but I'm also paying homage to my lengthy practice of abstract painting. You can see behind me, but also on the surfaces. And when those two moments collide, I don't think that they're necessarily separate practices or separate. They don't need to be separate. They can be fruitful moments that collide, and I'm working through that collision on these surfaces. And it's not an endpoint, but it's an exciting kind of return to my woodshed almost, like where I've gone to practice something and I'm also sharing the thing that I'm practicing.
Hello, I'm Fatima Al Romaithi. I'm an Emirati visual artist based in Abu Dhabi. I just got my MFA from the University of New York Abu Dhabi, and I also have a bachelor's of art from the University of New York Abu Dhabi. And this is my show, The Sweet Past. So what inspired this body of work were our mischievous childhood memories of sneaking sweets into our house without our parents' knowledge. And it made me realize how simple my childhood was, and that the generations to come won't be as simple because of all the technology that has developed. So for this body of work, I'm essentially using sweets as a window to the past and expanding from my family using a different variety of sweets. So I went from using sweets just popular to my family to expanding on that to start to include a bit more variety for other people to resonate with my work. And just a little anecdote, during the opening, there was one visitor who came up to me and she started telling me about her stories of sneaking gum into her house and how she actually has a scar on her ankle because of that. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted people to revisit the past, their childhood memories of sneaking food or sweets into the house and reminiscing over these memories. I went from being a drawing, or let's say an artist that has a drawing-based arts practice, to a bit more multidisciplinary approach. I've included sewing and included a dress that I actually wore when I was 8. I'm quite sentimental and I like to keep things from over the years. So this is a dress that I actually wore when I was 8. It's the only physical manifestation of these memories. The sweets that I've drawn have characters of their own. I've drawn them lining up, and one of them is upside down. I've drawn them sliding down from a plate. So giving the sweets character and giving them mischievous activities resonates with how sneaky we were and how mischievous we were when we were kids.
Hi, my name is Farah Soltani and I was a student at NYU Abu Dhabi, and I have studied my master's degree at NYU Abu Dhabi. Today I'm taking you through our final show and the session I have done and the series I've done during past 2 years at the MFA program. The whole series started with George Preck's practice of infraordinary. He refers to infraordinary as an act of looking at our surroundings into detail and go beyond the mundane routine of our daily lives and focus on our everyday environment and space. Through this action of observation in this space, I noticed that my being in my studio affects my work and then therefore the outcome of my artworks. So what I started to create was from the leftovers of any material that was in my studio, which was specifically cardboard at the time. And I imitated his automatic writing, which he basically the practice starts with sitting in a space and write without thinking and planning. And I did the same thing for making my sculptures, which is to sit in a space and start making without planning. And what you see in the exhibition is the outcome of that. George Craig was very innovative in his way of writing, and I think he's very artistic in a way he does his books and texts. So basically he was an artist whose tool was alphabets and words and texts. So I kind of wanted to make the same thing, but in a materialistic and in visual artistic and sculptural and 2D and 3D artworks. So when I was sitting in my space, I noticed how light affects me, how a scale of things really becomes something important in artwork, and how my physical relationship and distance with the artwork is affecting what I create. So four important things about this exhibition are, and basically this series of sculpture that you see here, are light, scale, transformation, perspective. So these are the four main characteristics of these pieces in here. Basically, from each angle that we stand and from each lighting, we have another persona and another extension of the pieces around the exhibition. Through this exhibition, we see a lot of transformation from 2D to 3D pieces and vice versa. We also see how light becomes an extension of each piece and becoming another layer and persona that are included in the piece as well. So all the lightings are staged in a way that we can show the volume and the character of the piece in further rather than only in mundane light. And also we see plays of scale. We see from very miniature-like pieces that are growing into larger pieces that kind of are connected through coloring and shapes and direction of the angles and legs and hands of the pieces.
Hi, my name is Zara Mahmood and I'm a Dubai-based artist. Today I will be sharing my works with you that are part of the body of works called Listening to Al-Bada Skies. I live in the neighborhood of Al-Bada in Dubai, where my studio is based. And I have had this ritualistic practice of drawing blinds in my studio every morning, and I would, by default, notice the fleeting gradients of the sky throughout the day. And on the MFA program at NYU Abu Dhabi, I was starting to explore themes of time and the sky and the colors of the sky further. But along with that, my commutes from Dubai to Abu Dhabi entailed noticing the atmospheric haze that was in my surroundings. So in the summer of 2023, one morning when I was pulling the blinds up in my studio, I noticed a thick atmospheric haze that engulfed my neighborhood of Al-Bada. And that prompted me to do an online investigation of the air quality in my surroundings. And that sparked a different trajectory in my work, where I started to research what constitutes the atmosphere, and I came across terms such as particulate matter and the different sizes that they entail.
And this slowly led to not only drawings that were done from sight of the skies from different points in my home, such as my studio window or my bedroom, involving the use of watercolors and pastel drawings, and these were live observation drawings. But this also led to a collaboration with a research instrumentation scientist at NYU Abu Dhabi, who lent me a piece of equipment that allowed me to sample air in my garden. And so once I completed that process, I was able to take the filter papers back to the NYU labs and was able to, through the use of an electron microscope, access specimens that lay beyond the periphery of vision. There is a photo transfer image of the sky on ceramic tile, and then there are text works, which are older works defining my engagement with the sky a few years ago, where I was curious about the names of the colors and the hues of the sky as the sun rose during that time of the day. The works in Listening to Al-Bada Skies captures my 7-year-long engagement with this intangible phenomena from my studio window. And the works are essentially a constellation of skies that I've been studying that basically emanated from a space of trying to capture the fleeting gradients of this intangible phenomena, to slowly becoming curious about what constitutes the atmosphere and our skies. And these images and these works are essentially probing the materiality of this intangible phenomena.